Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Fine. So guys, nowadays from the turning flight they are asking question. Okay. From the turning flight. What we have theory based question. Theory based question they are asking nowadays. So how that question they are asking? How many formula you have? 3 standard formula you have. What is that? It is nothing but first radius of turn. What is that formula? Simply I will write v square by g tan phi, or you can write v square upon gn square minus 1. Yes or no? Number 2, what is the next formula? It is rate of turn. Yes or no? Rate of turn. What is rate of turn? It is nothing but omega. So if you remember the formula only, you can solve the questions, this theory based question. And they are asking nowadays they are asking question based on this theory. So what is the rate of turn? It is omega, and omega is nothing but v by r. And what is v by r? It is nothing but, if you solve that, and formula already I have given to you, so you can check, you may get this value. Okay, or you can write g by v. What is tan phi? N square minus 1. What is the third one? What is the third one? It is time required. No? This is what is g. What is the third one? Time required to turn. What is the formula for this time required to turn? Time required to turn the aircraft. Okay, so I'll suggest like you just directly remember the formula, because already I have derived this in previous lectures. If you check videos, if you check this, then you may get. Don't derive every time, because if you derive every time, then it will consume your time. Better you mug up the formulas. This is the formula. All 3 formula you have now. Okay, so how that gate question they are asking? They are asking based on this formula, and they are asking question and they are writing the statement. Theory based question, basically theory based question. Okay, recent, if you check from last 2-3 years, if you check this type of question, they are asking multiple select question and multiple choice question. So theory based question they are asking. So now few things we have to clear in our mind. What is that? Radius of turn. Okay, radius of turn. Radius of turn. What should be? It should be minimum or it should be maximum? It should be minimum or maximum. Similarly, number 1. Similarly, turn rate. Turn rate. Okay, rate. So this part, if it is clear, theory part will be clear, then definitely one question will be asked to you in examination. Turn rate. What should be this turn rate? It should be minimum or it should be maximum. Third, time required. Time required to turn. What should be? It should be minimum or maximum. So now on the conclusion, if you say radius of turn means what? While the pilot is what turning the aircraft, so what circle he is taking, what circle he or she is taking when the aircraft is what turning. Okay, that is the one thing. Second thing, how you can understand, you can think about your cycle, you can think about your bike, car. If you are turning your bike or cycle or car, so that turning, if that distance, if it is less, then it is fine for you. I mean, if you are taking less distance, if radius of the turning is what less, then very fast you can turn. Or you can say time taken for the turning will be less. Radius of turn should not be maximum, it should be minimum. It should not be maximum, it should be minimum, right? Suppose this is the aircraft here, you just think in this way, it's very simple. This is the aircraft, okay, and one is what turning is what here, another is what here, okay. These are the different turning radius. So what will be the minimum turning radius that pilot will follow? Because unnecessary distance will not be covered, that is not allowed. No? There are the fuel constraint, there are the time constraint, many things. So minimum turning radius or radius of turn should be minimum. Yes or no? It should be minimum. That is the one thing. Yes or no? Because if you check here, because if you go for the turning which is turning radius or radius of turn is what more, I told you there are constraint, it will take more time because it will travel more distance. That is not acceptable because of the fuel constraint, because of the time constraint. So what you will follow, you will follow minimum turn radius even while you are turning your car, your bike, cycle, right? So in fact you will think like, okay, if you are having car, then you may think, okay, I will turn my car. So there are the place constraint here, okay. So what you will think, okay, it should be very less uh, time taken, and while you are turning your car, then that radius is what very small, so easily you can turn. Yes or no? That is the one thing. Now what you will go for the turn rate, that turn rate should be high, minimum or maximum, I mean it should be low or high. Again the answer will be the same, it should be like, if turn radius is what minimum and minimum, so turn rate should be maximum. Why it should be maximum? Why it should be maximum? Again the time constraint I told you. If you are turning your bike or car, okay, if turn rate is what very small, so it will take more time, and time required to turn, obviously it should be very less because of the, I told you, time constraint, because of the fuel constraint. Fine. And one more example for the turn rate I will give, why it should be a maximum. Because you just think, you are flying a fighter aircraft, and enemy's aircraft is what behind you, okay. And once that firing, the enemy's aircraft firing, suppose they have started, so if your turn rate is what more, that is called maneuvering. Turn rate high, turn rate or highest turn rate, you can call it maneuvering. If high maneuvering of the aircraft you are having, then it is good for the fighter aircraft. Why? Because if some from backside the enemy's aircraft suppose fired missile, and your turn rate of your aircraft is what, very high, so immediately you can turn, you can change your path, you can turn right or left, sorry. Yes or no? Immediately your aircraft will be turned. If turning rate is what, maximum or highest, then very fast you can turn right, left, anywhere, and you can save yourself. So turn rate should be maximum. What should be the time required to turn? Obviously it should be minimum. Okay, it should be maximum, sorry, it should be maximum. Time required to turn, it should be maximum, no? Because if it is minimum, then it means it is taking more time. That is not good. I explained for the two cases. If two cases you understood, the third case you definitely will understand. So time required to turn should be maximum. Okay, so this is the one theory. It should be very clear. It should be very clear. This is the one theory based question. So radius of turn should be maximum. Turn rate, sorry, radius of turn should be minimum. Turn rate should be maximum. Okay, turn rate should be maximum, and time required to turn should also be maximum. For all three explanation I have given why radius of turn should be minimum, because the path during the turning, if it is small, then fuel consumption will be less, and time definitely required to turn will be less if radius of turn is what, less. All right, number one. Number two, turn rate should be minimum or maximum. So turn rate should be maximum, because turning rate is, if it is high, then it means it is the aircraft is having very fast maneuvering. Maneuvering means the changing of the path with respect to time. If it is high, for that reason, for fighter aircraft, maneuvering speed is what, very high, but stability is less for the fighter aircraft. But at the same time, passenger aircraft stability is high, but maneuvering speed is very less. I mean, fighter aircraft, you cannot turn very fast. If you are turning for that passenger aircraft, if you are turning passenger aircraft, you cannot turn very fast. Otherwise, there will be problem inside the aircraft. This passenger and all, they will have a problem. Understood? So for the fighter aircraft, turn rate should be maximum. Okay. So for the aircraft here, I'm whatever I'm three things I'm considering. You need to remember, radius of turn should be minimum, turn rate should be maximum. You always have to maximize the turn rate for the aircraft. You always have to minimize the radius of turn for the aircraft. That is your authentic job, being aerospace engineer. Okay, and time required to turn should be a maximum, because if what time it has taken, if that time required to turn should be maximum. No, it should be minimum. Why it is maximum? It should be minimum. Sorry, it should be minimum, because it should go very fast, right? While turning, it should go very fast. So time required to turn should be minimum, not maximum. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This is wrong. No, please correct this. It should be minimum for the good aircraft. Time required to turn should be minimum. As I told you, for the fighter aircraft, suppose enemies aircraft is what behind you and they have fired the missile. So if your aircraft is what taking less time to turn, so that is good for you. So time required to turn should be minimum, it should not be maximum. Sorry, that please correct that. No, please correct that. Anyway, so these are the theoretical base. Now how that get question they are asking, so we'll write the formula for it. Now what is your job? To minimize the radius of turn. Radius of turn, so r min you have to write, r min. What is the formula? V square by g tan phi, or you can write V square by, okay. So to minimize the radius of turn, okay, what you should have? You should have highest possible velocity. Yes or no? To minimize the radius of turn, highest possible. See, n should be maximum, this value should be maximum, because if this denominator is maximum, then obviously this r will be minimum. So highest possible load factor. What is the second thing? If r is what minimum, so check velocity is directly proportional, so this should have a lowest possible velocity. Agree with this? This should be very clear, yes or no? Lowest possible velocity and highest possible load factor. If these two things you have, then you will have a minimum radius of turn. All right, so this possible velocity, lowest possible velocity, and you should have here n max, highest possible load factor, and this velocity must be minimum. Understood? That is the one thing. Second thing, what about turn rate you are going to maximize? So you are going to maximize or maximum turn rate. So this omega should be maximum. What is the formula for it? Just now you have written somewhere, huh? Omega is g tan phi by b, or check. So to achieve maximum rate of turn, your aircraft should have possible maximum highest possible load factor. Yes or no? Check, because omega max means rate of turn is directly proportional to load factor in the formula. So you should have highest possible load factor. And what about velocity? There should have lowest, because this velocity is lowest, denominator is lowest, then this omega will be highest, na? So lowest possible velocity means, and right, then third, this is the second. What is the third? Time required. What is the time required? Time required to turn. What is the formula for it? Let me check somewhere, here. Psi v, you have written psi v gn square minus 1, right? This is the formula. Yes or no? Now check. So what should be the time required to turn? It should be minimum. Okay, it should be minimum. So I can write here minimum time required. It should be minimum, right? By mistake, I had mentioned before that it should be maximum, but no, because all three I was explaining, so it was like mingle, all three mingle. So no, now fine. So how should you can get? How should have this minimum time required? So minimum time required, how you can get? You should have a n should have a maximum, so highest possible load factor should have a n max, and for minimum time required, that lowest possible velocity means v. So for all three cases, check. For all three cases, what are the common thing? Check. For minimum radius of turn, see this is number one. You also have here n max and b min. Second case, maximum turn rate also you should have maximum n max and v min. Third one, for minimum time required to turn, also you have n max and v min. So for the turning aircraft, okay, your aircraft should fly while it is turning. That aircraft should have a maximum load factor and minimum velocity. That's all. If you remember this, you will able to solve the questions. Understood? What is desirable? Turning flight. While turning, what is the desirable? Desirable is what? 2. Highest possible load factor and lowest possible velocity. If we are having this two, if we are having this two for the aircraft, then you will have minimum turn radius, you will have a maximum turn rate, you will have a minimum time required for the turning flight. I hope you all understood this, right? So we'll take one or two question based on this gate question, right? So that's the reason I'm saying whatever the question they are asking, it's very simple from the performance. So you should not worry about the like question what they are asking. It is very simple only. For that reason, I'm solving gate question also parallelly. Okay. This is the gate. This is the gate 2013. Even recent gate problem also, if you check, they have asked question. Many questions they have asked from this topic. Okay. Now, what is the question? Which one of the following? Which one of the following criteria leads to maximum turn rate and minimum radius in a level turn flight? This is the question. Option A. They have given highest possible load factor and highest possible velocity. Option A. Option B. Lowest possible load factor and lowest possible velocity. Option 3, highest possible load factor and lowest possible velocity. Option D is lowest possible load factor, possible load factor and highest so what is the answer? What is the answer? Check. Now they are saying maximum turn rate and minimum radius of turn. So for everything you should know answer that load factor should be maximum and velocity should be minimum. That's all. So highest possible load factor and highest possible velocity, no. Lowest possible load factor, no. Highest possible load factor and lowest possible velocity. This is correct. What is the answer? Answer is C. That's all. No need to go back. Now, if you check here, I told you the conclusion. What was the conclusion? Highest possible load factor and lowest possible velocity. Very simple. Understood? This question, this type of question they are asking regularly. Okay. If you check 4-5 years previous year question paper, so 2-3 question, 4 question they have asked like this only. They have changed the sentence and question they have asked like this only. Understood? Fine. So like the next year again one more question they had asked based on this theory. See, this is a theory based question. Another, like, they had asked question, GATE 2014, and it was also for 2 marks. What was the question? Check. Question is, for a given airplane with given wing loading, executing a turn in the vertical plane, in the horizontal plane, under what condition will the turn radius be minimum and and turn rate be maximum. If check the option, what option they have given, highest possible CL and lowest possible load factor. Option B, lowest possible CL and lowest possible load factor. Option C, lowest possible CL and highest possible load factor. Option D, highest possible CL and highest possible load factor. Check. So now whatever the explanation I had given, it was between CL and between the load factor and velocity, but here they have given CL. So how to connect this? Simple. Everywhere check. What is the velocity? It is 2W divided by rho S CL in root. Means V inversely proportional to root of CL. Simple. If V is min, means root of this CL should be max. If I am saying V min, that meaning is also CL max. Okay. If I am saying velocity min, then that meaning is also CL max. Right? Here also if I am saying velocity min, then it means CL max. There should not be any confusion there. So lowest possible velocity or highest possible CL. Yes or no? Now check. So for the same problem, what is the conclusion? N should be maximum, means load factor should be maximum and lift should be maximum. Highest possible CL, okay. Lowest possible load factor, no. Lowest possible CL, no. Okay. Lowest possible CL, no. Just now you have seen highest possible CL and highest possible load factor. So your answer is what? D. Simple only. So this type of question I told you, see, I have added one more thing, highest possible CL, because if I am saying lowest possible velocity, so velocity and lift coefficient CL is just opposite to each other. Here I have shown you. Check. It is just opposite. Velocity and CL, lift coefficient, both are just opposite. So if I am saying minimum velocity, it means maximum CL or highest possible CL. That's all. So this question was asked C2, 2 marks question. Simple only. Hope you understood this. Such type of question they are asking. If you check recent question paper, then many question you may get from the turning flight also. So I hope you all understood the whole concept, whatever I have explained today, numerical and theory both. So keep doing hard work. All the best. Thank you.